I think we're live. Um, it says we're live, so we'll see. Yeah. Let us know if you're seeing, well, let me know, really, if you're seeing me clearly and if you can hear me. Um, yeah, we'll wait a few more minutes for people to come in and then we'll get started. Um, let's see. I want to make sure I have everything in front of me that I need. This is cool. It's going to be our very first allergen, not an allergen in the live stream, which is kind of exciting because we've never done it before. Um, there. So, yeah, hi all. Let me know if you can hear me and see me okay. We had technical difficulties last time, but I guess I really just need to stop stressing that because this is our new normal and it is what it is. But still, it would be nice to know who's out there. So say hi where you're watching from. Definitely let me know if you can hear me well. I'm a little bit far from the mic, but my voice carries. So I think you can hear me. Morning, Jay. Okay. So yeah, we will be talking allergens today. Some of the more common things. Yay, Jana, good morning. Good evening. Goodness, what is it, April? I'm a little lost, I gotta say. We're back in a very, very sort of severe lockdown right now in Manila, so things have been a little bit, what is it? Ethereal, I don't know. It feels like deja vu, you know? Okay, give it a few more minutes and then we'll start off with our very first allergen, not an allergen on the live stream. So that's kind of cool. Um, and we're going to be tackling allergens that we've done before that are actually up on the blog already, but we've never talked about them live. And every time I write those blog posts, obviously my mom is my top resource there, as are, you know, different books and publications. But it's nice to hear straight from the source, I think. So I'm pretty excited that she's going to be joining us for these. And she can really explain some of the dangers, some of the things to look out for if you have sensitive skin with common stuff that we handle and play with and wear every day. Whoops. Okay. Hi, Nina. Okay. Maybe we'll give it 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. And then I'll, you know, rush through very quickly sort of a definition of allergen, not an allergen, how we define that, and then I'll bring in my mom. This is actually fun. This is very much her wheelhouse, and she loves doing this. And some of the conversations we have at home get really spirited. One of the allergen, not an allergen things this year is a frying pan, and that that ended up with a lot of discussions about Teflon and the handles and what could be in the handles and whatever. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting discussion for sure. And if you guys have other things that you want to know, is this a contact allergen? Should I be worried or not? Let us know in the comments for sure. But please do say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. I know Jana's in Utah. I know we have some people here from Pasig. I don't know. Chelo, where are you? Nina, where are you? Let me know where you guys are. It's a little bit cloudy um, over here today, but I think I got enough light so you'll be able to see well. Thank you. I'm glad you like the camera angle. This was actually very last minute, and I had to adjust something because I realized there was way too much stuff on top. And then when we adjusted it, I realized late that you could see our mess here in front. Then I figured, you know, whatever. You get to see our mess. It is what it is. Hi, Jelly. Jelly, I'm not a doctor. My mother is a doctor. I was going to be a doctor, but not in medicine. I was going to get my PhD, actually. Very different thing. I was going to be an academic specializing in race and gender and power and all that stuff, colonial studies. My sister, Cece, if you've joined our other live, she's in med school, so she'll be taking after my mom. Um, So Jella's in Pasig, Nina's in Bulacan. There we go. Nice mix. And Jelly's in Pasay. Great. And then Jana's in Utah. Fantastic. Okay, I will get us started then. Welcome to our Skinsights, guys. As I mentioned, this is the very first time we're doing our really popular Allergen, Not An Allergen campaign on our live streams. And I'm really excited to do it because every year it is really one of our most popular campaigns. And I think in part is because it's helpful. My mom and I were just talking about this yesterday. We were looking at all the allergen, not an allergen posts on the blog, vmvinskin.com. And I was saying this is so helpful because when you get your patch test, you get a list of chemicals and ingredients and stuff and substances to avoid, but you can't necessarily immediately translate that to regular things that you touch and handle all the time. Hi, Nitika from Indianapolis. Oh, Dr. Bansal, is that right? Fantastic. Welcome, welcome. So I'm excited to be delving into Allergen, Not An Allergen for the very first time on our live stream. My mom's going to really dive deep with us. For those who have not yet joined Allergen, Not An Allergen, we post a thing every day on our social in Instagram and Facebook, and we give out prizes every day. So you can totally join every day. It's well worth it. It's a lot of fun. You can test your skin intellectual quotient, skin intelligence quotient. But some quick notes on what we mean when we play this allergen, not an allergen thing. When we say allergen, we're talking specifically about contact allergens, right? If you watched our live stream several months ago now, and it's also on our blog, vmvinskin.com, we really sort of got into skin allergies are quite different from allergies, let's say from dander or nasobronchial allergies, food allergies even. Food's a little more complicated, but for the most part, dust mites and stuff, right? There's a type 1 reaction versus a type 4 reaction. Say dander and pollen, bee stings, peanuts, those kinds of things would be IgE modulated and involve antibodies, whereas skin allergies are T-cell mediated, don't involve IgE. So we're talking contact allergens, things that when you touch would be an issue, right? And for the most part, because the modalities and cells involved are so different, if you prick test positive to something, the chances are actually really good that you can still touch it, that you can still apply it on the skin. So, but for today, for allergen, not an allergen, we're talking contact allergens as determined by patch testing. Also, we'll feature funny things, right? Like we'll feature sometimes things that you would see in a regular patch test tray, like propolis maybe, or like tea tree oil. But sometimes, because I find it helpful for friends who've had patch tests and they're like, hey, can I use this? We'll also talk about things that you won't see on a patch test tray, like a phone case handle, right? Your mobile phone case handle, or your computer, or a microphone. And we'll actually delve into that to talk about what makes up this thing that could be a top contact allergen, and I find that really helpful. Our reference when we talk about top contact allergens are the regularly published reports of hyper-specialized contact dermatitis groups. For example, the North American Contact Dermatitis Group of the American Contact Dermatitis Society. It's a bit of a mouthful. As well as the European Surveillance System on Contact Allergies. And we also do our own patch testing. We also refer a lot to books like by De Groot, wonderful books on fragrance and non-fragrance allergens. So we do rely on things that have been published because they're based on thousands and thousands of patch tests, right? The last count, I think, was 28,000 patch tests or so. And I think that's it. Those are sort of the main things to remember. So today we'll be diving deep into four things: jeans, coffee, a white cotton towel, and essential oils, because essential oils are so popular. So remember, please. Hi, Che. Oh, yay. Another one from Bulacan. Remember, please, to ask your questions in the comments. Certainly let us know if there's other stuff you want to know, if it's an allergen or not an allergen, like my pillow or whatever. So maybe we can tackle that in another live stream. And then don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, check for the Allergen, Not An Allergen contests. Subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're getting content up there every single week now. And all of the previous Allergen, Not An Allergen answers, they're in our blog, vmvinskin.com, and there's a tab that says Allergen, Not An Allergen, and you can, go nuts. There's a lot to go through. Definitely let us know where you are, where you're watching from. That can sometimes affect, actually, the stuff that we talk about. And some last reminders, you can find all of our products, most of them with our clinically published first cold-pressed organic virgin coconut oil and monolaurin at vmvhypoallergenics.com internationally, vmvhypoallergenics.ph in the Philippines. And some quick reminders, in the US and in the Philippines, we're doing our popular VM Verdant bag as our gift with purchase now, which is pretty cool. Excuse the helicopter again. I feel like I'm in a war zone. It's nice because it's canvas, it's stronger, it doesn't have plastic in it, which can be an issue. It doesn't have a lot of bright colors, which can be an issue. And when you come in from outside, you can just toss it in the wash. And it's really good. It can carry a lot of bottles of wine and books and such. Also, please remember in the Philippines, we're on lockdown. So all our stores and clinic are closed until April 11. We do offer curbside pickup though, so contact us, we can help you. And if you'd like a teleconsultation with my mother or any other doctor or nutritionist that we work with, drop us a PM. And remember, wherever you are, you can send us a private message or email and let us know your patch test results, and we can help customize recommendations for you based on your particular allergens, since we're talking about allergens. So on that note, I will welcome my mom, our founding dermatopathologist and contact dermatitis specialist, Dr. Viralio Rowell. Mom, come on in.
Come on in.
She's busy answering a patient, so.
Sorry.
But we'll get her in here. Hello.
Hello. I
There.
love it when I sit
I
properly.
know, she likes this. So I try to prop her up.
The
so she
only
can-
time I'm taller than my daughter. Otherwise, I'm a pygmy.
You're.
I don't say that badly.
Okay.
Okay.
She's not particularly.
I'm petite.
tall.
Petite.
There we
Petite.
go.
Has that. Starts
So,
with a P also.
For our regular viewers, you already know her. For newbies who are just joining us, Dr. Viralio Rowell is a practicing dermatologist and dermatopathologist who's widely published all over the world. She lectures everywhere as well, and she's a teacher. She still has residents. But today, we're picking her brain as a specialist in contact dermatitis in particular. And I think that's important to underscore because I don't think necessarily it's common knowledge that there really is a subset of contact dermatitis specialists in the world of dermatology. Like a lot of dermatologists can obviously help you diagnose things, et cetera, but contact dermatitis as a field is a really, really specialized field. And sometimes you'll get doctors even, dermatologists even, who'll run into a patch test and not quite know that fragrance is related to like benzyl alcohol or something, and be recommending, oh, here, this is an unscented soap that you can use, and it has benzyl alcohol, which is in fact fragrance, right? So it's a great subset. It's pretty exciting. It's really confusing and a big brain bleed, but it's a lot of fun. So I'm excited to have her here as our main resource, and I know she's psyched because she talks about this stuff all the time. So you want to get started?
Yes.
You look so nice and fresh.
Thank you. So do you.
I feel so severe next to her. Okay.
It's summertime here.
Ugh,
And
well,
so therefore, cool, no, long sleeves or whatever, no sweaters anymore.
okay. So,
Mwah.
diving into it. Our first allergen or not an allergen are genes.
Unfortunately, they're the most beloved by everybody. Not only that, in recent, during the first time it came out, they were loose, right? But nowadays, they go into tighter and then slim and extra slim or whatever. So they really hug the body. And so very often I'll see patients who come in with rashes or just pigmentation changes
Yeah.
that starts at about the thigh, the inner
Okay.
thigh especially.
I like where you're going, actually. So why don't we start with where the kinds of reactions you tend to see and where, and then we can break down what in this
Right.
could be causing that.
Right.
So yeah, so please continue.
Let me just add
Cool.
on to what she said about the fact that dermatologists are terrific people. We take, I'm sorry, but it's true. Um, we really take pains to learn this specialty during our residency training in dermatology, and then a number of us will go beyond that and really become very adept at patch testing and contact dermatitis and then newer things and all of that, and that takes time and effort and and commitment into the subspecialization. So therefore, there are relatively fewer, but they exist, dermatologists who become experts in contact dermatitis. And this is basically, I agree with her. Go to people like that because they exist everywhere in the world, in any part you have. So therefore,
Genes.
genes. Genes will teach us very much about what
Yeah,
is
it's
important in making a diagnosis. Because very often, I will see patients misdiagnosed to have something else, treated with steroids and various other things, then come to me and one look basically at them and say, "You're allergic to your Levi's, to your blue jeans, right?" I say, "Why do you say that so quickly?" I say, "Well, I always take a look at the body totally, and when I see a rash, a distribution of the discoloration or rashes that follows the pattern of where that piece of clothing is in direct contact with the skin, and particularly when that person is active, is sweaty, is doing and continues to reuse that blue jeans, they normally dry it up and then put it on the following day, right, without changing. A number
Or
of
if we
people
don't
do
wash
that.
them for a while.
Correct. There you go.
So
And what's distinctive about it is that you will see it very dark at the
right. Okay. Wait. So first things first, right?
Okay.
What some
you
of
want
the
to know?
things,
Yeah, this is
some of the
allergens.
things
Sorry.
that she might see would be. You heard her say a few times discoloration.
Yes.
So I think when people sometimes think about like a contact dermatitis reaction, they just think redness or itching or peeling,
Or eczema.
but it can be this discoloration, right?
Correct.
And so when we're talking about something like genes, when she says she's seeing a pattern, right? She would see discoloration like here in maybe the groin area.
In areas of tight contact.
Yeah, tight contact. So certainly like the creases.
More tight.
Right? Here towards the groin area and in the waistband
The
area.
buttocks area.
Right.
The
The underside of the butt, right here in the crease.
and
Right.
the globe.
So when she sees discolorations in those areas, right, and she's talking to a patient and she goes, "What do you like to wear?" And if jeans comes up, that's a very, very big moment.
And then
right?
you want to hear something yet? And then there's a cutoff at the ankle. Then the rest of the foot
That's
looks
right.
pretty normal looking. Yes, you can see that. You
Yeah,
know.
right away you can see it. So the other thing is, yes, of course, redness, right? Itching. Like I notice sometimes I will itch, say on this side of my legs or whatever, and I'll be looking at what kind of pants am I wearing and are they tight. So if you're seeing problems in those areas of the tightest contact, groin, under the butt, in the creases, right, where you bend and stuff, and especially if you notice that they kind of stop where the jeans stop, it's a pretty good indication that this might be a culprit. Now, what is it in jeans that causes this?
The problem with jeans is that because of the tightness of most of the jeans that are being used nowadays, the things that are there called allergens or irritants sometimes also can really get to it. And so the question was, what are the allergens?
yeah.
Well, number one is that color,
Yeah,
the
this
blue dye.
indigo.
Or sometimes there are black dyes as well. Some people use that because they're all related to a basic dye that we use in the hair to dye it called paraphenylene diamine. And then for
Is that what they shorten to PPD?
PPDA
PPDA.
or PPD. And the thing is that there are forms of this PPD which is water soluble. And so that's the one, the dispersed blue, the dispersed whatever other colors, dyes, yellow and orange and whatever, that are maybe added to blue in order to give it a different nuance of a color. So these are the dyes, number one allergens here. All right. The other thing is that in clothing material, they normally preserve that in some kind of chemical. They can be varied forms of what we call formaldehyde.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a while to get rid of that. There are lots of studies that have shown the fact that after you bought it from the store and washed it before using, there still is some formaldehyde left, and it doesn't take much at all for it to become emitted out of it and to produce a reaction. Plus, there are many products that you use to wash it, and many of those products contain formaldehyde releasing preservatives. So there again, it could be in your own body soap, or it could be in the laundry soap and in the, in the
So,
washes.
so again, we're talking blue jeans, already, indigo, dispersed blue, and possibly black, PPD, and possibly other colors to change the colors of the
Yes,
jeans.
yes.
If you think you're going to be safer by using red jeans, you may not.
White.
Or black jeans, your safer bet would be white,
Right.
which would probably be bleached, frankly. It will still probably have some treatment, either with chlorine or another bleaching kind of thing. And it probably, jeans are so processed, guys. I mean, a lot of the times to make it soft or, right, stonewashed, all
There you
those
go.
things to make them look beat up, they're subjected to quite a bit of chemical processing. So there's all of that in there. And then when they ship it for stores, right, to stay on the shelves and whatever, when they're brand new in that plastic, they probably have a preservative in
Sure.
there. Yeah.
Plus, in addition to all that, nickel is the top allergen, right? It's number one all the way until now. So nickel is a mordant, and it may be used. Nickel,
Mordants.
many of the materials that we're using for these are no longer the 100% cotton materials that were used years ago, because
like pure canvas,
right, like because like Laura was saying, we want to remove clothes from the suitcase that when you go like that, it's nice and pressed looking. It doesn't look rumble. You don't have to get that iron to flatten it out. And those are therefore additional kinds of fibers that are added, polyesters, what other rubberized, even elasticized. So those are also possible
Okay.
allergens.
So also, here's the thing: if you're using jeans like real old school original jeans, I don't know if they make organic jeans, but let's assume real old school, like for the mines back in the 1800s. The pure canvas is not stretchy. It's not particularly soft and yummy feeling, right? Pure canvas is a little bit rough. It's a little hard to wear, but that, frankly, is not as problematic. It's when you get, it might be an irritant if you rub a lot against it, right? But it's when you get the newer textiles that are yummy. They're soft, they're stretchy. Maybe they have some synthetic mixed in there to give it a certain property. That's when actually you need to add mordants, which are the chemicals she was talking about, because they help colors bind better to the cloth.
That's right.
And mordants are related to metals. So nickel is the number one allergen in the world forever. It's been forever. And also, you have all these metal sort of
Yes.
accessories and accoutrements and whatever, right? The
This
buttons
one,
and
my poor
designs.
tummy always itches from that if I forget to change it into a plastic button.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, those are some of the things we went through: dyes, mordants, the metals that might be in here to help the dyes and colorants adhere better, the actual metal accessories themselves. And I want to get to one last thing. Oh, the formaldehydes used to preserve it. One last thing I would get into is the stretch. If you have stretchy jeans, you're looking at the possibility of latex, yeah? Other stretchy materials.
Light materials.
Latex-like materials, which if you've patch tested positive for that, that's going to be an issue. So it doesn't mean, again, the other reminder I forgot to say, just because something has a lot of contact allergens like jeans doesn't mean you can't use it. You need a patch test because you might be allergic to other things that are not in jeans, and then you're fine,
And to prove it even more, there are some doctors who will get little bits of material from the clothing, from the kinds of pants that you really would like to not give away or give up on. And we will patch test you to those little amounts of
There
the
you go.
clothing so that we'll find out
If it's
personal
exactly
use.
that. Yeah, definitely. Okay, So moving on to our next one.
May I address how
Of
to?
course.
The other thing is that you can do besides wearing white more, that is more really 100% cotton, which is kind of difficult for some people to think of, is I tell patients you can try the khaki. You know,
Khakis.
the lightest khaki, the oldest lightest
Right.
khaki you may have in your among your
Right.
clothing. That might help
Right.
make it less.
Yeah.
And then at another time, there was a time, I don't know if it's still fashionable, to wear this, you know, sort of
The flared
the
pants.
flare
Or
pants
boot cuts.
and some yeah, with the slit
Where
in
she
the
sees
side.
the most problems, honestly, are with jeggings.
Yes,
Because
that's what
imagine
it's
it's
called.
all of these allergens, right? The dye, the stretch, the nickel, and all that in a very tight piece of clothing that really just is there, right? And whenever you bend, it's digging into the skin. So that's where she tends to see the most problems. I love those tips. Look for paler colors or white. Look for pure cotton if you can find it. Less stretch or no stretch. Looser fit. So either baggies, boyfriend cut, right, or boot cut, or
And
flares.
remove the metals, including the zipper.
Yeah, but some of them are cute. So maybe you could. There are some creams that are like nickel block creams that could be great. Just make sure they're fragrance free and other allergen free. Another nice tip that she always shares that I forgot to mention is um, when you buy stuff like this, try to wash them in hypoallergenic laundry soap, or at least unscented laundry soap, and rinse it like for several times, like 3 or 4
Separate from the other
cycles.
clothing, by the way.
Yeah, that might help. Okay,
And hand wash probably is even better.
there you go. But rinse, 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 rinse to get rid of the
And
formaldehydes
fly away
in the.
to get rid of any chlorine or formaldehyde. Put them on hang them outside. Let the wind blow things away.
There you go. Okay,
Rather
so
than a-
can
than
we
a
jump
dryer.
to the white cotton towel? We have four things to get through today.
Oh,
So white cotton towel
second. All right.
is the next one, right? And I have been saying with a lot of caveats, this is not an allergen.
Yes.
What is your take on that?
Yes, it's not an allergen unless you wash it with certain laundry soaps that have, again, the preservatives, the fragrance,
Yeah.
things in it.
So a few things I'd like to add there, right? A rough cotton towel,
Can be an
even
irritant.
if it's white or organic, can be an irritant. So if you have eczema, atopic dermatitis, very sensitive skin conditions with barrier disruption,
Oh my God.
I listen. Maybe don't choose a white cotton towel. This is actually quite rough. You don't want a rough texture. If you can find it, get a very, very smooth, soft texture. And always, always look for the lighter colors, like with the jeans. White. If you can find a completely unbleached, natural cotton towel, that's even better. No?
Yes.
Yeah, so pretty much that's it. And then, of course, don't go attacking your skin when you dry. You want just like a gentle pat dry. That should be
Correct.
fine. The other thing I think that's important here is you don't necessarily wear your towels the way you do jeans for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours a day. So that can help as well. But yeah, for sort of as a matter of caution, try not to opt for dark colored towels or very bright greens and reds and purples and pinks and yellows and stuff. But otherwise, a sort of cotton towel, 100% cotton if you can get it, is a pretty good deal. Not an allergen. Okay, moving on.
Number 3.
Coffee. Coffee, thank heavens, is not an allergen, right? But
Okay. Coffee is a nut. And peanuts, for instance, are allergens now and all that. But I kept researching again, trying to find fault with coffee because I'm trying to be a good girl here. And there really are no reports
Yeah.
of pure 100% coffee being an allergen.
so I know some people
However-
use it as a scrub too. So
Yeah. However, when it becomes coffee that's already prepared and processed and are powdered, for instance, or put in those little sachets that you just add on 3-in-1 kind of coffee, that may become a problem. So, but by 100%,
Wait, which
Coffee.
one can be? I'm sorry, I was answering a
no,
question.
the packaged
Ah.
coffees.
Yes, packaged coffees, if you look at the ingredients, they might have dyes,
Mm-hmm.
flavors. Flavors are
Colors.
related to fragrance. Yeah, colors and preservatives,
Right.
right? And so for some people, we're not, again, talking about food allergies necessarily. So for
Right.
that, you have to talk to your allergist. But if you notice some people get, no, on the lips or
Yes.
around the mouth,
Right.
then if you're doing an instant coffee or a coffee premix kind of thing, or a bottled coffee like those yummy ones in the stores, look at the ingredients to check that your allergens are not in there.
Or the milk or the milk substitute that may be placed.
That's in there. But other than that, can I get an amen that coffee is not an allergen? Because
Go
I'm very
ahead.
happy.
Go ahead and have your espresso.
Absolutely. I plan
They
to
make
have
their
one
own
that day.
coffee
Yeah.
out of powdered 100%
Of
coffee.
this, yeah, no. So yeah, I'm a big fan of coffee. Antioxidants too, so that's always good.
Yes.
And I do know people who do use it as
Anti-inflammatory,
a
therefore.
homemade scrub, so that's kind of cool. Okay, so our last substance for today. So we started with jeans as an allergen, a white cotton towel as not an allergen,
Coffee.
thank you God, as not an allergen. Now we get to sort of the in my opinion, the main event, which is essential oils.
Yeah.
Right? I have in my hand ilang ilang and lemongrass, but essential oils, what other popular ones are there? So many lavender,
Citromint and-
citromint, lavender, just you know what I mean. All
Nice,
the mints,
all
and
the mints, all the nice smelling,
all the nice
cinnamons
smelling
and-
essential
right.
oils that are highly concentrated, and you can put them. Woo! I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. You can put them. They're usually not used directly on your skin.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, I guess, in some massage oil. Some massage oils they are. Otherwise, they'd be like a drop. So sorry.
proving the point.
Oh my god. A drop peppermint. Yes, jelly, thank you. Exactly. Peppermint, all these things. There are other ones, right? Guys, help me out. There are other popular
Citromint
essential
and
oils.
cinnamon and cinnamon-like products.
Cinnamon,
and,
but they're also used because I know they're also popular in like little roll-on things to help with nausea, to help with different issues, or they're like put a drop in, like a diffuser, right,
Yes.
in your room,
and it stays on overnight.
right? So essential oils. What do you guys think that is?
I'm really very sorry. I wrote an article actually on the oil, or these particular oils, come to think of it, and contact dermatitis. About 3 years ago, 2017 maybe, and the fact that although I wanted to include them, I said I just have to exclude them because they really are allergens, pure and simple. And although there are many people who use them for various things like aromatherapy, like homeopathy,
Yeah.
like air purifiers or insecticide, mosquito repellents, and things like that. The truth is that they are in fact allergens, and they can not only be problematic for when they're applied to the skin or get to the skin by any way, but at the same time they're also airborne contactants. So you will get people who are snuffy all the time, or even get asthmatic attacks from inhaling those things.
There we go. Fantastic. So we have tea tree oil, eucalyptus, rosemary
Thank
oil,
you.
lavender, chamomile. Exactly. Thank you very much. All of that, right?
Right.
And I think what's interesting, sorry, so is what she was saying is they're not just allergens for the skin.
Right.
They can actually trigger
Definitely.
nasal bronchial allergies, asthma, right? So they
Right.
cross over.
Not only that, many of them are also used as flavoring
That's
of
right.
food and drinks, So that bottled or that canned thing of powders with supposed to be, for instance, an orange juice may actually have orange from the oil, and added to it to give it more flavor and, nice aroma. So these are all interrelated and can be used allergic.
Okay, so let's really break this down a bit more, because now that we have you here, okay. So I think the more obvious thing is if you are applying those little roll-ons, or you're applying a massage oil or a body like a bath oil or something with essential oils, you might see in the roll-on case a fairly isolated, really clearly demarcated area of problems, right? So if you're using it in the pulse points or under your nose, that's probably where you'll see the redness, no, itching,
or the areas of direct contact.
right?
But at the same time, it may become airborne over time and also affect
Right.
the nose, the nostrils, or even go inside further.
So one interesting case that she had was a patient who has been highly allergic to fragrance forever, right? Patch test, very positive, and has been extremely good her entire life about not using anything fragranced on her body. But kept coming back to her and going, I don't understand this. I keep getting right here, above my lip, below my nose, this redness and this dryness, and it just won't go away. And of course, my mom was like, okay, what are you using as fragrance? Nothing. She's adamant. Nothing. But my life is so not fragrance that the only thing, I have scented candles all over the house. So
Even more than that, this is really cute. She says, the only time I have anything that scents a little bit is the scented candles that I put around the bathtub
Right.
when I'm in the. Well, let me give you another example to drive in this point. Very often these things are habits. The use of an aromatherapy, topical or nice smelling things and all that, they become habitual, so that many of the patients I interview about this never mention it until they have a recurrence. Like, for instance, I had a patient who actually was one of these people who take care of camps. He was the camp manager or whatever, and so he was always out in the sun. Anyway, finally, he had severe photosensitivity, so I had to put him in the hospital for about 3 weeks in a dark room to really get rid of any kind of a light and all that, and no use of computers and all that. He cleared 100%, and he was okay. His barrier had begun to repair itself and all of that. He comes back roughly about 6 months later, and he's flaring up, but in some areas now, just on the face and maybe here. And it turns out they had gotten so used to using aromatherapy oils at night, putting it on, dabbing it on or whatever, but they didn't think about them as perfume. So that's why he recurred, but he's okay now, and he's a good-looking guy. He comes in with a white hat,
okay.
a white shirt, white pants, and all that. Shows off. He said, I'm 100% clear.
There we go. So, okay, again, the reason I'm going to repeat some of this, okay, because I find that, as she said, people sometimes don't think of essential oils as perfumes because they're natural, organic, really
Therapeutic,
natural. Exactly.
Even, yeah.
Which they are. I mean, frankly, I thankfully do not have a problem with lavender, and I love lavender. So lavender I find particularly soothing, and when I'm around it, I can see how my mood changes. I feel better. So I can see that. I haven't seen evidence-based papers yet showing that there is sort of a therapeutic thing from aromatherapy. But I'm sure it can be done. And I'm willing to bet there's something with regards to neurons, the olfactory senses, and mood. There's probably something there, right? But as far as the skin and allergic contact dermatitis, triggers for rosacea, eczema, psoriasis, atopic dermatitis, they really do get triggered by this. No matter how natural, no matter how organic, no matter if you grow the rose by yourself and you mortar and pestle it yourself and extract, the essential oils are really top contact allergens. And that applies to massage oils, where you might see it generalized, as well as very specific contact areas with the little roll-ons or fumes going up into the nose, but also more generalized reactions across the entire body, right?
I was just reviewing this article that came out last year from the American Contact Dermatitis Society, which is a big organization in the United States. They have a core allergen, and they expanded it from 50 to 65, and now it's up to 80 for a while. But this last report that they gave, they actually expanded it to 90 core allergens. And you know what many of those core allergens are? They're basically these perfume ingredients we're talking about: linalool, limonene, there you go, limonene and linalool, and benzyl salicylate, which is like benzyl alcohol. They're considered just therapeutic even, or an alcohol or a salicylate, but are really fragrance, and they are also allergens. So yes, go to a patch test person,
If
doctor.
you're wondering what I'm doing, someone just shared, and we put it on the comments, an old trick in perfume training is if you're sort of itchy from the scents to clear. I would assume it's like clearing the palate, sort of, is smell coffee after. So I've been doing that because
100%, huh?
I had been itching from the
Good for
thing.
you.
So yay! Thank you for the tip. That
Okay,
was
now
really,
that's a
really
tip I
helpful.
can share with some patients.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, we're gonna be yeah, that's pretty much it. So we are gonna be taking questions. Please make sure you get your questions in or tips. This first one is actually, I think, a great question because it goes to exactly what we're talking about. From Isla, safest scent for eczema warriors.
Safest scent. Your normal scent is quite okay. I don't
Yeah.
have used any perfume. How do I smell?
So I think
I smell of coconut maybe. So I'm edible. I'm good enough to eat. How's that?
yeah. Ayla, I think you're not gonna like this answer. Okay, so let's really try to think outside the box and get creative here, right? Here's the thing. Most scents, right, are allergens. Period. Most. Even if they're very naturally, organically
Not all,
processed.
huh?
Most, not all.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of, that's a lie. There's going to be quite a bit of research and investigative work to try to find. For example, okay, pure coffee. Okay, not coffee scent, not coffee flavor, coffee grounds. Like you get the beans and you grind them up. You can find those in some candles, in some skincare products, right? If that's the scent, that's probably a fairly safe scent, right? Because it's not an allergen. It's not a top contact allergen, and it's not a synthetic fragrance, and coffee isn't an allergen. So that might be a safe bet. Coconut, not coconut scent, not coconut flavor, but from
The oil that I
the
apply.
oil itself, when it's extracted, it does have a very faint
Beautiful.
smell.
Right.
That's safe because it's not a top contact allergen, right? I'm trying to think of other things that would not be a top contact allergen in terms of scent. What?
The thing about, I'm listening to your question about what is the best, safest scent. The problem with fragrance, if you're buying it off the store, whether it's I'll name some big name, Chanel or whatever, is that we really don't know what scents go into one. Because I did a study on this years ago, and there can be anywhere from 20 to 100 plus different kinds of perfumes that they add onto it. Maybe there's an ilang-ilang that
Yeah.
is, more, but there will be a lot of others. And so therefore, that's the problem. What
Yeah.
she's saying is you tend to go into more pure, and that would be natural scents actually that you can get.
But even so
But
many
then-
natural scents are an issue. That's why it's
Right.
not just natural organic scents. It's very
Bottom
few.
line, have a patch test.
Yeah.
And when you do
That's
your
true.
patch testing, bring along the perfume you want to test, to try.
Right.
And have the doctor also do a patch test on that.
Perfect example. You saw me earlier get very sniffly and really start to itch and stuff with the ilang-ilang, right? But lavender, not a problem. I'm sure lavender will give me hyperpigmentation, but lavender
Right.
doesn't make me itch. So
Right.
in a patch test, I might pop for ilang-ilang. I might actually be okay with lavender. So that's something you can look at. An important note here, I want to...
Talk about the melasma and the pigmentation.
Yes, we did na.
Ah.
Sorry, essential oils, yes. Also
Yes.
very big cause. So you see actually a lot of lavender farmers, very dark hyperpigmentations
Or
on the
calamansi
face.
farmers. I've
Or
seen a number.
calamansi farmers also. So another thing I kind of want to add here is, we did a live stream several weeks ago on the microbiota of the skin, the microbiome of the skin, which is the natural bugs that we're born with in our skin. And it's become very hot, very timely to talk about probiotics and microbiome in our bodies, right? This applies to the skin and how we smell. So our ancestors and many of our tribal siblings today, they don't use a lot of perfume. They will bathe, right? But they won't use the harsh germicidals and harsh disinfectants, and they certainly won't use a lot of perfumed things, right? So Interestingly enough, we've had customers, she's had patients who have been so almost like a phobia of not using perfumes, of not using scents, because they really have this phobia of smelling bad, right? We did another live stream where we talked about number one, body odor from like the armpits, from the endocrine sweat glands and stuff. That can be controlled by trying to get the microbiota back in check, the correct antiperspirant, maybe monolaurin in the area to help get that back balanced. But all of these people, eventually, after some time of using really unperfumed products and living without fragrance, you get used to smelling the way you smell, which is, I mean, pretty nice. I think I smell okay. I smell like nothing, or a little bit coconutty maybe. So I think you do eventually kind of get used to that.
Let's do later, because I'm now really getting into this microbiota and the gut and the skin axis. You know, the microbiota of the skin, because this is our external environment, and the gut microbiota, because that's our external environment that we bring in the form of diet. And it's fantastic the way they are actually cross-talking with each other, because whatever you take internally might produce toxins, might not be able to break down certain things, might not, you know, be the right things, because they're breaking down the proper balance and numbers of the organisms that are needed by the gastrointestinal tract for this, that, and the other thing. And the thing is that the blood vessels from the gut will go into the skin, can bring these toxins to the skin.
We need to do another live stream on the microbiota because she's doing more on it. But that's kind of where we would go with that. Christine is asking, my 11-year-old daughter has flakes all over her scalp. We've tried tea tree shampoo. Tea tree oil is a big allergen.
It's an allergen. It's in the top 80 now, 90 of the ACDF.
And we've tried dandruff shampoo, and she's on maintenance for allergies. What's the best treatment for her?
Stop the tea tree oil. Shampoo that you're using, that might be the cause.
A lot of dandruff shampoos are also very fragrant.
Right.
Or dyed.
Right. So my suggestion is go to a very simple shampoo. The fewer the ingredients, the better.
Yeah.
And if it's really that bad, you know what you can try? What I do with people is fast them and just use the coconut oil, for instance, for cleansing the scalp.
Yeah.
Rinse it off well. Don't use even soap or anything. Couple of days, you'll notice the big difference.
So we did a live stream on hair and scalp, and she kind of gave a really nice explanation that our scalps tend to not be sort of excessively flaky and dry naturally, right? If they become that way, chances are there's an irritation happening or an allergic reaction happening.
Correct.
That can be from, as she mentioned, it can be from tea tree oil, it can be from
the preservatives,
scents, preservatives, dyes in any other shampoo. It can also be from a pillowcase that is colored. It can be from the laundry detergent that, you know, used for the pillowcase.
Yeah. So you have to take a look at the distribution again. If it's basically just in the back or on the sides, and there's a pillow or a toy that is always like that, you know, you have to look at the various things.
Or headband.
You have to look at the site of the dryness. Is it really from top
or
to the
gels
side?
and mousses and things like that? So if you can get a patch test, it's definitely worth it because it can really help you target, it's this, right?
Yeah.
If not,
They're
then
eye openers.
a skin fast is a great idea, which is we have on our blog, we have a step-by-step thing there. We can put that in the comments for you to look at. But a 7-day skin fast can really help. And then you start with very gentle, fragrance-free, allergen-free, etc. stuff. Anna is asking, it's a little off topic, but I really do love it. I regularly take monolaurin pellets as part of my strengthening my immune system. Is there a daily maximum allowable quantity to take?
The studies that were basically done on the monolaurin dosing was started by Dr. Dairit, the father of the current Dr. Dairit, and it was at 1 tablespoon 3 times a day. That's to treat the HIV that they were treating. That was their study. Then there's another study that came out of Indonesia that used the same kind of dosing. So that is, if the question is to use as a preventive and therefore not a treatment for HIV or possibly COVID, I would imagine that about a fourth, a little bit low, much less of that would be just a teaspoon, perhaps twice a day would be sufficient. Especially if, in addition to that, you're using the pure no-it oil, virgin coconut oil, to also apply into the nasal mucosa as well as into the buccal mucosa and gargling in the throat, because, like I said, these oils are broken down by the bacteria which are colonizing these particular areas, and they break down the organisms that are still trying to stay. You breathe it in and
Yeah,
you apply.
that's VCO and mucosa, so I
Right.
won't get into that.
So
but what I do
going
wanna
back to the
add,
monolaurin,
yeah,
to have more direct action, I'd say 1 teaspoon twice a day is probably sufficient.
I haven't seen case studies on an overdose of monolaurin, and remember, monolaurin's in a lot of foods. So
And baby's milk.
and baby milk.
Breast milk, rather.
Breast milk, infant formula, and a lot of food. So it seems
Right.
okay. She has a follow-up question, which is, I'm taking some health maintenance medicines. Is it safe to take them at the same time? The monolaurin pellets, I guess? Or should I wait a few minutes or hours apart? Just take them all together, no?
You can take them all together because the monolaurin pellets are what? Monoglycerides.
We have about
and
10 minutes, so get your questions
And
in.
they're broken down into monolaurin and the fatty acid that was carrying it. So this is done very efficiently by the acids in the stomach. That
Right.
can vary. So the other things that you're taking, whether they're water soluble or fat soluble, if you're a little bit, about it, you might want to consider taking all of the fatty acid, the fat kinds of supplements that you're taking together with the monolaurin. And I would suggest that you do first is the water solubles like vitamin C and B12 and the B complex, and separate from the oils. That
Okay, that's very
Perhaps.
detailed. Two questions that are kind of cool. Does the kind of cotton matter for towels or clothing? For example, Egyptian cotton, Canadian cotton.
bamboo cotton,
Yeah. Does that matter? It's a great question.
Yes, a very good question. I've been looking into the materials that are being used for masks, for instance, and I began to realize that it's not all the same. Cotton is not necessarily, or rather, white cloth material is not necessarily the way we look at the cotton that is in the loom. Where they get cotton from the farms and make them into weave them, and then they're like that. Apparently, a lot of white materials are made of polyethylene glycol. I'm really sorry, maybe this is the chemical, but polyethylene glycol materials, which in a sense are plastic-like, and they are made into white. So if it says 100% cotton, you have to rely on that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if it doesn't say it's 100% cotton, it may be a mixture of cotton with some of these synthetic
Yeah.
white-like materials that are woven into it.
Honestly, your best bet, if you can find it, is 100% organic. If it says certified organic cotton, that's a really nice option. And there is a company that does that. And the last question, and then, I can probably let you go unless we have sort of last minute questions come in. If I'm photoallergic but need to wear blue jeans, maybe for
Bang.
work,
Okay, like
like
a uniform. Yeah.
is there a lotion or barrier cream I can apply so the material won't touch my skin directly?
You can use white cotton, say leggings, short ones also. The same
Unless you're allergic
length.
to the elastic.
Change the elastic and make it just a tie. That would be the best way to do it.
That's tough, huh? Because if they're loose enough, you could probably wear very light linen cloth that's white or white cotton underneath it to be a barrier. That's what people normally do. Like for gloves, if they're allergic, they'll recommend a white
Yes.
cloth, but it can be quite hot. So that's a thing. I worry a little bit about the idea of lotions or any other kind of barrier because the heat actually makes
Right.
you more reactive.
They melt. The heat will actually melt the moisturizer ingredients, and it seeps down into the skin faster. And the other one that would be unocclusive would be to put petroleum jelly,
They're also
petrolatum,
hot, huh?
but they are so hot unless you're really in a
Yeah.
very cold place.
Which
all the
might
time.
worsen the reaction.
Right.
which is the issue.
I have actually written letters to companies, uh, you know, requesting that patients of mine be allowed to wear something different. And
That,
you'd
yeah.
be surprised when I write a letter to a company requesting the medical, directly to the medical people, and say, this is a problem and this unfortunate blah blah blah, I would like to request blah blah. You'd be amazed at how many companies are actually very accepting of that and will let
Yeah,
their
because it's a medical condition, right? And it will prevent you from doing your job. On a quick note there, because I don't think I think we mentioned it in passing, but I don't think we underscored it. If you have psoriasis, atopic dermatitis, and similar conditions, a patch test is your best friend, because contact dermatitis and these conditions tend to be peas in a pod. And your psoriasis, your eczema, your rosacea, your atopic dermatitis can improve drastically, beautifully, dramatically with just avoiding your allergens. Enough so that your steroids are like once a year. I mean, it's really rather impressive.
we missed a fifth allergen which should have been included today.
We're doing this all April.
Okay. The fifth allergen. Can I mention it already?
I mean, we're doing like 30, so yeah.
Okay.
What do you want?
Steroids.
Oh yeah, we
This-
can do that next one.
Right.
So let us know in the comments if you want us to tackle anything, but we can add that to the next live stream. Steroids plus plus plus. We'll do like 4 again or so, depending on how complicated the thing is. But on that note, I think I'll let you go. But before I let her go, it was her birthday 2 days ago.
Hey! I was 80. I'm now 82 officially.
She turned 82 on Monday. So happy birthday.
Thank you for making it so special.
Well, we try.
Bye bye.
Bye, Mom. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
All right. So quickly, everybody, as we wind down, again, some of our reminders here. Allergen, Not An Allergen. We post something every single day on Instagram and on Facebook, and we choose winners randomly from the correct answers every single day. So definitely check us out on Facebook and Instagram for a chance to win. And we'll be putting the answers. Thank you, Liz. I'll make sure all the birthday greetings, I'll make sure she gets. She didn't come in before she left. All the answers are on vmvinskin.com. That's also where we put a lot of our resources for the Allergen, Not An Allergen series. Please remember to social distance. Get vaccinated as soon as you can with whatever vaccine is available to you. Wear your mask. Wash your hands regularly. Be safe, everybody. Do that VCO trick in the nostrils. It's really cool. If you need our products, and I know our stocks are very inconsistent now, but we are really working hard, at least at getting the most essential stuff in there. vmvhypoallergenics.com or vmvhypoallergenics.ph. And if you would like a teleconsultation with my mother or other physicians or nutritionists we work with, drop us a PM. If you're struggling to find formulations that you can use even after a patch test, you can share your results with us and we can help customize recommendations for you based on your particular allergens. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out the videos. They're up there. We delve into a lot of this stuff in more detail. And yeah, let us know what else you'd like us to cover. Otherwise, be safe. We'll see you next week with steroids and other allergens that will be, or not allergens, that we'll be tackling. Take care, everybody. Be well. Bye, Liz.